Yeah. So the Uno Entertainment mixtape is fucking incredible, by the way. But there was never 2 volumes. It was just the one.
It was supposed to be. I recorded a whole second volume to it, but it never hit the light of day because I was just busy.
Got it. Yeah. So the intro track to this mixtape, there's a record called "Fuck Daniel Gibson" that's on there. And for those of you who don't know, Daniel Gibson was actually Chaos, a member of the Ions. So, want to talk about that a little bit?
You know what? This is definitely me in my infancy stages. I can't say at that time, in that place, at that age, I do anything differently. Maybe I do something differently as an older individual, but you can't change the times. And to be real with you, I don't know what spawned that. I was responding to something. So I kind of give you the rundown. And this is from my perspective. Maybe one day, Chaos decides to do his own interview or something and kind of tell his perspective, because I never felt like I got the truth from him. But the last time I had saw Chaos before this all transpired, he moved to Alaska and I helped him move out of his apartment. We shook hands and everything was all love. About a year later, I have a guy, one of my guys at the time, hit me like, yo, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm at the crib recording. He like, can I come through? I got something I need to show you. I'm like, yeah. This is like somebody like I'm cool with, like on the scene, but they never been to my crib. Like we wasn't cool like that. So he comes through and he has a CD in his hand. He's like, yo, I gotta play this for you, bro. You need to hear this shit. I'm like, all right. So I look at the CD and, I went to school with Chaos and shit. So I know his handwriting.
Of course.
And it's clearly his shit. He goes to some track on there and he's dissing me. Now, note you, last time I spoke to this guy was at his apartment helping him move. He moved to Alaska because I think his girl at the time was doing some school shit up there. I don't know. But we all thought it was weird, like you're moving to Alaska of all places.
Yeah, of course.
And of course,
in the middle of nowhere.
being young and shit, we had jokes about it, but it was kind of like I was seeing him off on some homie shit. I hear the record, I'm like, yo, so I call him. And he's in my ear on some like, because I've never been the type to try and handle issues in the media. I don't like to handle issues in public. I like if I know you and I got your number, I'm gonna hit your jack. Like, yo, what the fuck is going on? Like, we should talk this out before we get into some other shit. And then his energy was just crazy, and I never understood where it came from. I never got it. Still to this day, I don't know what caused him to make that record.
Do you have a copy of this record?
No, I don't.
I'd love to hear this. I never heard the initial.
No, I don't.
I heard the response. I never heard what he dropped.
I never even took the CD from the guy that brought it to me. I gave it back to him. I never had a copy of it. So, in the essence of competition,
of course,
I responded, and I kind of my philosophy at that time in regard to issues with people wasn't a healthy philosophy. So I wanted to respond over the top, like meaning I wanted to end whatever that was. And that was the energy and the spirit of that record. That's why I named it Fuck Daniel Gibbs, because it was like, I know your real name. I know you as a person. Like, that was the whole thing. And I still, to this day, I don't know what his animosity is towards me.
So you just never got an answer for...
Nah, because we had continual issues, which we'll get to later.
Well, yeah, I mean, we ended up recording years later.
Yeah, we had continual, and I still, to this day, don't understand the heart of where that came from. But I used that to spark the Uno Entertainment shit because I knew, like, especially at the time, Diss Records was really getting a lot of pub. And I was like, look, if I put this number one on the mixtape, this is what everybody's going to hear. First, it's going to be the first impression, and it's going to get the mixtape off the ground. And it did, because I ended up selling / giving away close to like 10,000 fucking copies of that fucking mixtape. and I performed shit off of there, and it was a great thing at the time.
So during that time, pretty much, yeah. So now we can get segue into the whole thing with Disaster. So that was pretty much '04, and then '05, you were still somewhat into battle rap, but not so much. You were kind of phasing out of it. I mean,
So battle rap for me was a means to an end. It never was something that I was overly in love with doing. I've always been a fan of battle rap. Even today, I have great relationships with a lot of battle rappers. I sometimes even blog on this shit. I fucking judge battles when I'm asked to. I'm an avid watcher of the shit. Like I subscribe to the URL app. I'm buying VODs. Like I fuck with battle rap, but participating was a means to an end. So when we signed the Foot Soldier deal, and then we met KRS, and we started I won't say we. I started touring with him, and we can get into that in a minute. But I started kind of running around with him, doing shows and touring. I had kind of felt like, all right, I'm making that transition. So I was slowly backing out of battle rap, and slowly, because there was a stigma on my name that I couldn't get rid of. And it got to a point like, all right, I'm making music, and I'm finally getting to a point to where I feel like I'm making music that's viable. No one's calling me for shows. Everybody's calling me for battles. And that got frustrating for like a couple years. So once I started hitting stages with KRS and people started seeing it, and like we had a couple records out and shit like that, then I was kind of like, yo, I need to back away from battle rap and get rid of that stigma, because the stigma that battle rappers can't make records has always been a thing.
Oh, that's been a very real thing for a very long time.
Yeah, and I didn't want to fall victim at the time to that belief system. So I was trying to erase the battle rap stigma by not taking battles and by not participating, even though maybe I should have. But at the time, that was my conscious decision. So...
Well, that's got to be hard to do, because when you were on tour with KRS, you battled a lot.
Yeah, so my first tour with Chris, a lot of people don't know this. So my first tour with KRS-One, it started in San Francisco. We had some, we did this press show. It was a release of a pretty big video game at the time, but I forget the name of the game. I think Microsoft it was like their event for like some Xbox game.
It was probably like one of the Halos or something.
Yeah,
Halo
maybe
2
it was something.
It had to have been.
Yeah. So we did this press show. And there was maybe about 200 people in this show. It's for the press. It wasn't a big show. We get there. We do the regular schedule, or what became the regular schedule, which is I open the show doing my own records, and then I would come out and hype man for KRS. So I came out and hype man for KRS halfway through the show. He asked the crowd who raps in the crowd and who's nice. Usually he would only bring B-boys on stage, because he would always do a break.
Part of his set.
Yes, part of his set. He does the break beat section, and he'll bring B-boys on stage and hype up the B-boys and let them get their shit off. So he invited a rapper to the stage. So everyone's like pointing at this one guy in the crowd. He comes up on stage, and KRS says, he never told me he was gonna say this. He says to the guy, hey, if you beat him in a battle, judged by the crowd, you can take his place on the tour. So this is a rapper at a KRS-One show. You're being told by KRS-One, if I beat this guy, I can go on tour. I can, all my dreams can come true. And I can simultaneously steal this guy's dream. So I beat the dude that night, and we got back to the hotel because we was doing the next show in Sacramento. And we were driving out in the morning. So KRS calls my phone in the hotel, and he's like, yo, come to my room. So I go to his room, and he's like, I just want to let you know what happened today is going to continue to happen. So I just want to give you the heads up. And I'm like, why? And he's like, well, when I was in LA, I was hearing that battle rap wise, you were that guy. And he's like, you know, the hip hop rule, never battle KRS-One. And since I'm kind of that guy, I want to test the theory. Are you as nice as people say you are? So if you're, you know, the guy from Cali that nobody should battle, I want to put that to the test. So every night on this tour, when we have a show, I'm going to invite someone from the crowd. And if at any point you lose, you're out. And I went like 35-0.
Got a clique full of shooters. They won't let